guys, welcome back. Please excuse the noise that my icy cold air conditioning is making. For those of you that's a bit envious, I can relate with you guys. Today we have a very special episode. We are going to showcase my friend Brandon's 2-liter GTV. You'll see his car is quite highly modified. So please come along for the ride and let's go check it out. Okay guys, so this is my very good friend Brandon. As you can see, he's also quite a big Alpha aficionado. So over to Brandon, and he's going to share a few of the finer details in terms of his car. Thanks, Brandon.
Right, Hello. So this is my 2-liter 1977 Alfa Romeo GTV that we bought second-hand for $8,000. Initially it was silver, and then in 2009 my dad said it can become my project car, or my daily car. So then we decided to strip it down to bare metal, and then just rebuilt it up. So in the process we've added the 2.5 suspension with a 2.5 Brembo brakes, normal 2-liter gearbox, which we will hopefully change in the future to the 159 gearbox.
Is there a reason for the 159 gearbox?
Longer ratios. This one at 120, it's about 3.4, 3.5, so it's quite high.
Yeah, it feels like you need a 6 and a 7, seventh gear.
So with the 159, as far as I understand, it's 500s longer than the normal or the previous 2-liter ones. The motor is fully stock, unopened, except for just adding the trumpets, just to breathe a bit better, and obviously the noise, it sounds amazing with the trumpets.
Yeah.
And then cosmetic wise, I left the bumpers off for the Euro look.
Is it the cafe racer look? Is that what you guys call it?
I would say it's a cafe racer sort of style. Initially the plan was to build it for a cafe racer, but then you can't have the best of both worlds.
Of course.
So you purely build it to race it Sunday evening and not enjoy it the rest of the week, or you try and find a
get like this happy medium
sort of thing. Right. So in that process, it's got now, like I said, the 2.5 suspension with all that kind of tricky little bits to it, plus polyurethane bushes. And I've got the 2.5 front anti-roll bar, which definitely does help, which I've sent in for powder coating. Same with the rear springs and the rear anti-roll bar to a nice like metallic silver color.
Okay. Tell us about the rims.
Yeah, well, thanks to my good friend Rios, we made a little swap. I had a racing steering wheel plus racing seats that I swapped for these Carburetors.
Okay.
Reason being for changing is I love the original 2.5 rims, but because they sit in so far, I didn't enjoy the boat looking style, so I wanted more of an outer rim.
Alright.
Quite happy with the Carburetors. I think in the near future I will change color.
So I take it that the back's also got the GTV6 suspension?
Yes, correct.
So it's still in the shocks?
Shocks is the Gabriel gas
the gas rider, but it's pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff that you could get from like Midas or wherever.
Did you also drop the car?
Yes. Luckily enough, with the rear suspension, all you need to do is take out the 2 rubber spacers.
Alright.
In the States and in the manual also, it's actually a spacer. Once you take that out, depending on the thickness of your spacers, how much the car will actually drop at the back without having to cut the springs, which is a bonus. So your car's not like a bouncy thing while you're driving. It's still
So the ride is still okay.
So, yeah, so you'll feel like when you drive it, the car still feels like a normal car. Except you do hear rattles, but it's not bouncy like cut springs or lowered springs.
Okay.
Other than that, and then I just changed the watts linkage at the back, shortened them a bit so that your pivot point is exactly centered.
So let's see if we can get a shot of that watts linkage, because I know the guys are always interested in that.
So you'll see on yours is slightly at an angle.
That's right, yeah. Mine's got this normal standard one. I hope you guys can see this. So what Brandon did is he basically customized his watts linkage so that the center pivot point is perfectly upright and not slightly skew as on the normal GTV 6s. So Brandon is going to show us now his beautiful work of art in terms of the engine bay. He really has done, he's gone through a whole lot of trouble to get it to look like this.
Yeah, like I said before, the trumpets on the opposite side on the carburetors, which are the 40 Delortos.
Okay. Have you considered going for the Weebers?
I'm not a big fan of the Weebers.
The Delorto man.
With the Weebers, there's very limited tuning that you could do to them. With the Delorto, you could really fine tune the carbs for more efficiency or more power and so on. I still have the standard exhaust from the front to the back, as the Office actually had a pretty good branch setup. And then from there, like I explained, the carburetors, I've got the trumpets on with the Piper Cross air filters. And then from there, I built my own radiator, catch can, and then obviously my own expansion bottle to go with it. The company, well, let's not say the company, but my own company that I do this privately is Proline Fabrications. I do for all the other classic Alphas as well, like the Julias, Juniors, Spiders. I've done quite a few for Roger, Houston, Trevor Tuck and Patrick Gearing. And it basically all started with this car. They saw it in this car and then they just said, hey, I want one. And then just from there it gradually expanded, and that's what I do from now on.
Right guys, just want to show you something. I mean, this is the water expansion bottle that Brandon made himself. I mean, look, if you look at the welding, it is very high quality. And if you look on that side there where the oil catch can is, Brandon fabricated that himself as well. So what I'll do is I'll share a link to his details in the description below, so if you guys are interested, you can give him a shout. The history behind these stickers.
There's no real history. I saw it on a guy in the States on his GTV. And obviously Italian flag with an Italian car, it just looks nice, it just suits it.
So the red is here somewhere. Take your pick, whatever the Italian flag is.
Whichever. I don't want to confuse it with the Mexican flag.
I believe this mirror is also, it's not standard, or is it?
That's the thing. In South Africa, this car originally had the round mirror that you'll find on the 105 Juniors or Spiders.
Okay.
But in Europe, they came out with an oval, what they call this one, an oval side mirror.
Okay.
The problem with the round one is you don't have much visibility when it comes to sight or looking for in your blind spot.
Okay.
So, I know I'm not going to get a lot of critics from this from the overseas guys. That is an original 116 series steering wheel and not the 105.
Okay.
As they did come out on the 105 also. Then I've got the 2.5 GTV6's gear lever on. Just gives a bit more leverage and it's a lot more comfortable than the round little black knobby that it used to come with.
Okay.
Then I've stayed true with a 70s style of selling cars with no radio and no speakers. So I still have the original Serpent radio cover plate.
Well, I suppose with the side drafts, I mean, who needs a radio?
Yeah, no, definitely. And then, yeah, it's got the split dash with a speeder in front and then a tech on the left hand side.
Did you know the history about the split dash? Apparently at some point it was illegal in South Africa to have the ref counter in front of you. I don't know how the Porsches got around it.
No, the 1600s and 1800s are in front of them.
Oh, was it? So it was flipped to them?
Yeah.
So it wasn't a legislation thing?
No.
Oh, that's a story I had.
I've spoken to a lot of guys about it.
Okay.
you'll find that a lot of the 1600s or 1800s had the rev counter in front of them because it was the GT, more of a sporty version.
Yeah.
Where the GTV is most the Grand Tour
So
Veloci.
you would rather see the speed.
They changed it over where the speedo's in front of you, but
Alright, well, I guess that makes sense.
oddly enough, yet again in Europe, it's still standard where the rev counter is in front of you. So I don't know what South Africa did or why they changed it, but it wasn't a legal standpoint of changing it over.
And tell me, the seats, are they original or are they covered?
Seats are reupholstered, but the original seats that did come with the car, and they've just been reupholstered.
Alright.
So I wanted the perforated leather. Just it does breathe a bit better than standard flat leather.
Yes.
You tend to walk out with a sweaty back.
That's right, from the sauna room.
So yeah, that's interior wise, everything is basically standard or OEM.
The hood lining and these side covers, what do you call it?
Door panels, yeah.
Door panels, door cards.
All been reupholstered. Yeah, sadly because we bought it second hand, the previous owner, he bought it brand new.
Oh.
But that was his daily car.
Okay.
So when we got it, the seats were almost like non-existent.
Oh, really?
The leather was gone.
Just frames and
you could see
sponge.
you could literally see the sponge in the springs.
Jeez.
Luckily enough, there's two small cracks in the dash where normally, especially for such an old car, they're full of cracks.
Yeah.
Door cards I wanted to change a bit also because the original one had the chrome beading in the inside, and I'm not a very big fan of chrome.
Of course.
And to keep with the seats, it's got the perforated in the center, and then the two solids on top and bottom. And then I added a little pouch also. From learning to drive more modern cars, you always have that little extra
Little cup, well, it doesn't have a cup holder, but actual little holder for your phone
phones
or
and
your
all that kind
wallet.
of stuff. And it's quite nice to have that little pouch there to hide your wallet, especially if you don't want people to see your wallet lying on the thing, or if you at an event, you can hide your wallet inside, so you don't have to constantly carry it with you. And then the boot, it's basically standard again. Unfortunately, I had to MacGyver a piece here to hold the boot up.
So what's the reason for that, Brandon?
The gas shocks that you can get are the ones that you could buy now locally don't have gas in them, so you have to fill them up, but no one knows how many Newton meters.
Ask me, I can vouch for that.
Yeah. So, and also not to sit with that headache to struggle to close the boot or when it shoots up. I just thought, let me just weld a little nut on with a little T-piece. It locks it in place.
And does the job.
Yeah. You'll find a lot of guys will actually cut a groove in here. Once they open it, they just put
it sits there.
a cut washer. Yeah. And then they just put the washer in and it locks it in place.
Cool. Yeah. That's quite clever.
But unfortunately, in the process of building the car, I'm sure a lot of the old 2-liter guys will know that had plastic covers to cover the rear lights and the side of the car.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, with the age and it being so thin, they do crack and break and perish. They're very brittle things. So in the process of rebuilding, we kind of lost them, and I know they were broken. So the process was to get them, try to glue them either or fix them, reupholster them, and in that process they just got lost.
All right.
So if anyone has, please hit me up. I would really appreciate that.
Okay, so Brandon, I must say, I'm sure the viewers at home are going to appreciate the deeper insights that you've shared here. One thing that I would really like to know, you mentioned the car was silver, and you also mentioned that you are only the second owner.
Yes.
So what red is this? Because I know the guys are going to want to know.
So the car was initially silver, and in the process of the car being at Barcy at Alkaline Panel Beaters, I was deciding between red, white and silver again. Then unfortunately, by the time I got there, Barcy and them already decided to spray the car red.
Oh, they decided for you?
Yeah, they decided I was taking too long, so they somehow just sprayed it. And as far as I know, I don't know the color code, but it's a new Polo red from 2012. So if anyone's got the color code for that, I'm pretty sure it's easy to find.
Right, thanks Brandon, thanks for sharing all that with us. We are going to go for a nice ride now, and we're going to try to show you guys what it is like to be inside this car and go for a nice ride, and we hope you guys are going to enjoy it.
Mine is net te kort.
When it's emergency, we speak Afrikaans.
Kom dan.
Brandon, I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed that.
No, it was a great day today. Some unexpected issues popped up, but other than that, it was a very great day. Enjoyed the ride, enjoyed the filming, enjoyed seeing your car on the road also. It was a great day. Thanks.
Look, if it's an Italian lady, you must know, really never, you don't always know what's going to happen. So, but at the end of the day, it was actually a quick fix. No harm done.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Cheerio.